In the frozen, desolate expanse of Antarctica, a continent of ice, silence, and unforgiving cold, there once stood a man who dared to challenge the most remote, dangerous frontiers on Earth. A man whose courage and skill would etch his name into the pages of human exploration. Conrad Gus Shinn. Born on May 14, 1923 in the United States, Gus Shinn grew up during a time of profound global change and technological advancement. A time when aviation was still a relatively new frontier, barely 4 decades removed from the Wright brothers' first flight. As a boy, Gus was captivated by flight, mesmerized by the sleek aircraft that cut through the skies with grace and power, and driven by an unrelenting curiosity to someday command the skies himself. The world was soon plunged into the turmoil of World War II, and like so many of his generation, Gus answered the call of duty, enlisting in the U.S. military, where he trained as a skilled aviator. His service during the war not only honed his flying abilities, but instilled in him a level of discipline, fearlessness, and precision that would later serve him in ways few could imagine. After the war, when most would have chosen comfort and stability, Gus sought new frontiers, turning his eyes toward one of the last truly unexplored regions on the planet, Antarctica. At a time when the South Pole remained one of Earth's most unreachable places, Gus became part of a historic mission that would defy nature itself. In the 1950s, as part of Operation Deep Freeze, a monumental effort by the United States to establish a permanent scientific presence in Antarctica, Gus was selected for one of the most dangerous and ambitious assignments in aviation history, to become the first pilot to land an aircraft at the geographic South Pole. On October 31, 1956, piloting a heavily modified Douglas R-4D-5 Skytrain, Gus Shinn executed what many at the time considered an impossible feat. Battling brutally cold temperatures that could instantly freeze engines solid, navigating unpredictable winds that threatened to toss his aircraft like a toy, and landing on a surface of treacherous shifting ice, Gus successfully touched down at the South Pole, delivering the first men and cargo to establish a scientific station at one of the harshest locations on Earth. That landing marked a turning point in human exploration and Antarctic research. For the first time, humanity had established a foothold on the very bottom of the world. The world hailed Gus Shinn as a hero, a pioneer whose courage had opened the door to scientific discoveries that would span decades, from climate research to glaciology, from astronomy to the very study of life itself in extreme conditions. Yet despite his historic accomplishment, Gus remained humble, often crediting his team, his aircraft, and the meticulous preparation that made his mission possible. In the years that followed, he continued his service, contributing to further Antarctic operations, training the next generation of polar aviators, and supporting missions that would solidify the U.S. presence on the continent. His name became synonymous with bravery, precision, and cool-headed leadership under the most extreme conditions imaginable. Even after retiring from active service, Gus's story continued to inspire countless adventurers, scientists, and pilots who dreamed of pushing the boundaries of human exploration. He lived quietly in his later years, often reflecting on the incredible events of his youth, while watching the world he had helped shape continue its march forward. As decades passed, technology advanced and polar missions became safer and more routine, thanks to pioneers like Gus, who had risked everything in the early days. His health remarkably remained strong well into his 90s and beyond, a testament to his disciplined lifestyle, resilient spirit, and the same quiet strength that had carried him across the deadly Antarctic skies so many years before. Friends and family marveled at his longevity, noting how his sharp mind and warm personality remained intact even as he reached his centennial years. He continued to share his stories with younger generations, speaking at museums, aviation events, and schools, reminding audiences of a time when exploration meant confronting the truly unknown. But even the strongest aviators cannot outrun the passage of time. As Gus entered his 100s, his body began to yield, not to any sudden illness or tragedy, but to the natural and gentle decline that eventually overtakes all who walk this earth. His heart, which had once raced as he braved impossible winds above Antarctica, now beat slower, each rhythm a fading echo of a life lived on the edge of history. On June 9, 2025, at the extraordinary age of 102, Conrad Gus Shinn passed away peacefully at home, surrounded by loved ones who honored him not with sorrow alone, but with profound pride and gratitude for the legacy he had left behind. His death, attributed to natural causes, marked the quiet end of a chapter in human exploration that will forever bear his name. The news of his passing quickly spread across the globe, with tributes pouring in from scientific communities, military veterans, polar researchers, and aviation enthusiasts who recognized the magnitude of his contributions. The United States Antarctic program lowered its flags in his honor. Aviation museums held special commemorations. Historians revisited the extraordinary courage that brought him to the South Pole nearly 7 decades earlier. While the world mourned his loss, it also celebrated the remarkable life of a man who dared to go where none had gone before. Gus Shinn's legacy lives on in every scientist. Gus Shinn's legacy lives on in every scientist conducting research at the Amundsen-Scott South Pole Station, in every pilot landing safely on polar runways that were once considered impossible to reach, and in every young adventurer who dreams of exploring the unknown. His historic flight was not just a feat of aviation, but a victory of human determination over the harshest elements on Earth. Gus's life serves as a powerful reminder that true heroes often live not for glory, but for the quiet satisfaction of knowing they have pushed humanity one step further into the great unknown. His journey embodies the very essence of courage, discipline, and service, a life devoted not to personal acclaim, but to the betterment of others through the pursuit of knowledge and the expansion of human frontier. Today, as the icy winds still whip across the endless Antarctic plateau he once conquered, and as modern aircraft trace the same frozen paths he first dared to chart, Conrad Gus Shinn's spirit continues to soar across those barren, beautiful skies, forever etched into the history of exploration. Though his voice has grown silent, his legacy resounds across the vast, frozen continent and throughout the halls of history, reminding us that even in the most desolate corners of the earth, the bravery of one man can illuminate a path for all mankind.